Welcome back, everybody. This is Eric here, Moss Pawn & Gun, and we're continuing our SHOT Show footage 2015. And guys, this has been a really awesome shot. We've run into a lot of friendly people, seen a lot of really cool products. It's so interesting the amount of people in the industry that come through and they know who you are and they have nice things to say, and that's very humbling to me. But of course, we are here at the Geissele booth. Geissele's been a really good company to work with for the YouTube channel. They've been very supportive of our efforts on YouTube, both in the form of making sure we have triggers we need and rail systems. Mr. Geissele and his wife, Joe over there, all those guys have been really good to us, and I always want to show my support for a good company and for products that I support. You know, they make a great trigger. In case you guys don't know, they got their new AK trigger out this year, and this thing's going to retail for, I think, don't hold me to this, guys, but they're not ready yet, but they're going to retail for around like 49 bucks. Then they're going to have an enhanced model they're going to roll out for around 75 bucks. Excellent drop-in unit for all your AK patterns. I was talking to the guys at Geissele earlier, and they have tried it in a ton of different AKs, so far it's looking pretty good there. But I'm really excited about this trigger because you guys know I am an AK whore, if I can say that. We're going to go over here to the Geissele booth, grab a couple of other guns. I want to show you guys what they have to offer. Some of you guys may not know, they make a Tavor trigger. They got an enhanced version of that out. They make a SCAR trigger, so let's go have a look at a few of them. All right, now I know you guys are probably expecting Tim from Military Arms Channel to come walking by, but he's not around, I promise. But we are talking about Tavors here. If he hears the word Tavor, he may come running over here. But anyway, one of the things that Geissele has coming out this year is their new Tavor trigger. Now, the base trigger pack that drops in is pretty much the same one that they've had, but what they're introducing now is a replacement trigger. And what that replacement trigger does is it helps make the gun a lot more drop safe than the standard trigger using the existing trigger pad. Also, you got nice brand recognition there, showing off the fact that you're a Geissele supporter, which is kind of cool. So their new trigger has the Geissele logo on it, which is nice. I do like how wide the trigger shoe is. Gives you a really nice purchase. I'm just going to point this, but you got a nice purchase on the trigger, a nice wide shoe, which I like, especially if you're wearing gloves and that sort of thing. Really helps with trigger control. Really, really, really smooth Tavor trigger, guys. It takes a lot of the creep and slack out of the system. I'm going to have to pick up a Tavor. I know I've really been kind of beating around the bush in terms of whether or not I want one, but I think I'm going to pick one up. Now, this particular Tavor also has their ALG single chamber brake. Okay, very cool brake. All right, guys, they're really busy at the Geissele booth here, but I thought what I would do is talk a little bit about AR triggers in general right now. And not only AR triggers, but just triggers in general, because a lot of people don't know what makes a trigger a good trigger and what makes a trigger a bad trigger. Like with this case, this is just a standard Colt trigger, came out of a regular, AR-15. If I squeeze this trigger, one thing you're gonna notice, if you look closely, you're gonna see that the hammer moves back, okay? Before the trigger breaks, the hammer is pivoting rearward. That is what's called positive engagement. And what positive engagement means is that when you're squeezing the trigger and you're pivoting it out of the way off the hammer hook, it's actually pulling the hammer back slightly before it releases the hammer. Now, positive engagement, you're probably going to see that a lot in factory triggers, okay? Then you have neutral engagement. Neutral trigger engagement, the hammer does not move at all. Now, all Geissele triggers are going to be completely neutral engagement. Very, very excellent take up. Excellent brake, real clean, smooth reset. A lot of them are adjustable for over travel, things like that, and trigger pull weight and everything like that. Neutral engagement is what you're looking for. You don't want the surfaces to cause the hammer to move in any direction. You want it to be a neutral engagement. Then you have probably the least desirable type is called negative sear engagement. Negative sear engagement is when you squeeze a trigger. Now this one's not going to do it obviously because this hammer moves to the rear when you squeeze the trigger. That's your positive sear engagement, okay? That hammer is moving back before it lets go. With negative sear engagement, the hammer actually drops a little bit before it breaks. Now the problem with negative sear engagement is that if the hammer is trying to slip a little bit, and let's say you start a trigger squeeze and you change your mind, you don't want to fire the gun, but the hammer's already moved a little bit, say you drop the rifle could discharge. You could also have the rifle double up on you if you're not careful. With that negative engagement, the hammer is slipping as you squeeze the trigger, and that's the least desirable type. If you've got a gun that has negative engagement, you definitely want to, replace your trigger or do something about that. You do not want a firearm to have negative sear engagement. You want positive or neutral sear engagement. So I just thought I would kind of talk about that while they're busy over there. But that's basically the skinny on triggers and what you're looking for. That's a standard AR trigger. Let me grab one of the Geissele's and show you the difference. All right, guys, so in contrast, this is a Geissele Super Semi-Automatic Enhanced Trigger. Couple of differences that you're gonna see right out the gate. You've got titanium nitrided surfaces on the disconnector, hammer hooks, and the trigger hooks, okay? These things are set up really nice. You still have the drop safety that you would expect to see out of a Colt. You still have the original hook on the back of the hammer, on the front of the trigger, or that engagement surface is still there. But when you squeeze the trigger, your disconnector and your hammer hooks are precision ground, precision fit, where you get a really, really nice, consistent take up, okay? You got your take up, and you run it. All right. So if I leave the trigger squeezed, that hammer disconnector catches it. All right, and let go. You can really see how the whole system operates. It's pretty straightforward. There's not a whole lot to it, guys. This is their standard SSA. It's kind of like their flagship trigger, okay? But I just wanted to show some of this stuff off because they're just really making nice stuff. And I know that when we're out on the range and we're doing stuff on the YouTube channel, it's very difficult for us to just crack guns open and really show you the guts and how these triggers work. Many of you have been asking questions about that. So I'm just trying to clear the air and show like what makes a good AR trigger a good AR trigger, and what makes a standard AR trigger just a regular old GI trigger. So that should hopefully, give you guys an idea of what to look for in a trigger. So I've got a couple of SSAs in my ARs. They're great guns, great triggers, I should say. But anyway, thanks for watching, guys. We've got a ton of SHOT Show footage on the way. We're not going to get absolutely nuts with it, but we do have quite a bit coming. So stay tuned, and we'll keep up with it. Have a good one.